Developers have no problem spending $500,000 on a sales office, sometimes $1 million in a sales office, but you ask them to spend 25 grand on their website and start crying. They're like, what do you mean? But there'll be 100 times more people visit your website than will ever visit your sales office. So if you're willing to spend $500,000 on your sales office, that 1 in 100 are going to show up to it. Why wouldn't you spend part of that money on a great website where 100 times more people are going to go visit? Okay, because that's the reality, guys. People don't go to sales offices. That's not happening anymore. They go to the website, they make all their decisions. One of the things that I learned in your project is I spoke to a lot of people in the community. So what do you think is the problem? Most of them had never been to your project, but they've been to your website. So they made their decision in your project based on your website, even though they've never been there. So that's how critical your website is. And all of you are the same. They're making decisions based on your website. So this is where the money needs to be spent. Okay, next one, page 18. This is huge. Okay, most of us don't understand how to create an email. Let me just give you a couple tips here on page 18. The most important part of when you're going to send an email is the from line. Who it came from. We all scan our emails. We all have too many, especially at the end of today. I'm sorry, but you're going to have too many in your email box. But what you're going to do first is scan who it came from. Okay? If it's from a company, you will not open it. Okay? You're going to look for friends and family first, and then business contacts next. Anyone that's not friends or family or business, you won't even open those emails. Okay? So your from line is the most important. So don't ever send emails from customer service or sales ad or that's just stupid. Don't ever do that. Number 2, always have it come from a woman. Emails from women are always open 50% more than from men. And it's true for men and for women. So have your emails come from a real person, have it come from a woman. Number 2, once you've gone through, so that now that you've looked at the from field, now the next thing you're going to look at is the subject line. You better have a really good subject line, okay? And you've got to test it and change it and test it. It better not be boring, okay? So the subject line is really important. The key word is, what's the benefit to me? What's the benefit? What's the benefit of me to open your email? It's got to be clear, compelling, and keep testing it and testing it and testing it. I was pitching yesterday a story. I wanted the local press to write about Canadians and the opportunities here. So I'm writing these emails to these editors, and one of them's a neighbor of mine, and my subject line was the story idea from 212 Carmine Lane. And he got hundreds of emails, but he lives down the street from me. He came to my house this morning at 7 in the morning. He goes, I got your email. He goes, it's great. And I said, that was pretty quick. He goes, I love the subject. And he's a writer, right? He's a publisher of the St. Augustine paper here. So it's the subject line that got him. Okay, so even though I probably wouldn't have been on his list, I've never emailed him before. But it was a subject line. So you've got to have the right from, and you've got to have the right subject. Now, if you've gotten through that, now you need something compelling. So you need an attention-grabbing headline. It's no different than when you're doing a direct mail piece or you're writing an ad. You need a great headline, the clear offer. You have to have the button right up front. Don't hide your button. Don't make it small. Don't make them scroll down. They'll never scroll down email. Make it up front. Okay? So the call to action has to be very visible. Point form. Do not write in paragraphs. Nobody thinks in paragraphs. Nobody reads in paragraphs. Always write point form. And here's the key. Always include a customer testimonial. Nobody will ever believe what you say. Never, never, never. But they believe your customers. So always, in every communication, you have to include testimonials, Now, if you've got a picture, it's better. Even if it's text, it's better than nothing. If you've got a video, it's a home run. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do today, if you're so kind, give us a 30-second testimonial of what you learned today, because that would help us, because we practice what we preach. Next, blogging. So these are just some general rules on email. We could spend all day on email giving you high level on how to fix up your emails. And notice it's an HTML email. This is not a boring text email. This is a pretty good looking email. It looks professional. Okay? Next, blogging. I used to think that blogs were just for weirdos that just sat home and had nothing better to do. Here's what I've learned. Most articles that you read in the paper did not get written because of a press release. Okay? In the old world, 5 years ago, you used to hire a PR firm, they'd write these press releases, and they'd hound the editors. They'd keep calling and bugging them, send press releases. It's not how it works today. Today, reporters go online, they're reading blogs and big searches. Maybe it's reading blogs about blocks, you're reading blogs about, what believes. But in the blogs, they find an interesting story idea, and that's how they decide to write it. If you don't have a blog, you are in deep trouble. Because no one's going to write about you, because that's how reporters are finding stories. If you don't have a blog, there's nobody writing about you. Number two, here's the good news. In all of your communities in Tempe, Arizona, there's a blog right now, guaranteed, all about Tempe and how great it is. And there's hundreds of people a day reading that blog. If you're not responding to that blog, if you're not interacting with that blog, you're making a huge mistake. Because there's hundreds of people that love Tempe, Arizona right now that are reading those blogs, and they could be from Canada. But you're missing those people. All you have to do is start, responding to those, answer questions, say something about Tempe. Here's what people read your response, and they're going to look for your blog. Okay, so that's why you have to have a blog. So how do you get people to your blog once you have one? You start talking to other people's blogs. It sounds simple. I think this is crazy. I'm convinced this is a massive strategy. So if you think about Canada, there's all kinds of Canadian blogs about how to invest in U.S. real estate, why it makes sense. There's all kinds of blogs on the topics we're discussing right now. It costs you nothing to start a blog. It costs you nothing to comment on blogs. This is free advertising.